Prince William has already started. Not someday, not when King Charles dies, but right now. And by the time I finish showing you what he's done, the 20 deliberate moves he's made, the ones you can verify yourself, you'll realize something extraordinary. Camilla's position was over the moment Charles got sick. For years, the public assumed William was simply waiting his turn, the quiet heir, dutiful, patient, respectful of hierarchy. But that image, it's outdated. Behind the polite smiles and scripted handshakes, William has been playing a far deeper game. A calculated, strategic, quietly executed reshaping of power that's been unfolding for nearly 2 decades. And the pattern, once you see it, is impossible to unsee. These aren't whispers or wild theories. They're documented actions, from the sister he fired, to the title he refuses to grant, to the grandmother role he completely erased from his children's lives. Each move fits perfectly into the next, like pieces in a royal chess match. It all started back in July 2024. The moment William officially took control of the Duchy of Cornwall, he made his first move, one that shocked everyone in the room. His first act as Duke wasn't ceremonial or symbolic, it was surgical. He fired Camilla's sister, Annabel Elliot, from the Duchy's payroll. The Telegraph revealed that she'd quietly earned hundreds of thousands of pounds over 2 decades, hired without competition, solely because her sister had married into the royal family. Within days, Fox News and Hello picked up the story. And here's the part no one missed. That firing wasn't just an administrative update, it was a statement. William's first signature as Duke wasn't ink on paper, it was a line drawn in power. Then came the next step. He filled those emptied seats not with neutral professionals, but with his own people. William Van Straubenzee and Harry Aubrey Fletcher, 2 of his oldest friends from Eton, both godfathers to his children. They were placed on the Prince's Council to help oversee Duchy operations. Within 5 days, Camilla's sister was out, and William's trusted allies were in. That isn't reshuffling. That's a takeover in a velvet glove, polite, quiet, but absolute. And then came the most personal move of all. William drew the line between family and blood, and this time, it wasn't financial, it was emotional. Royal biographer Angela Levin, in her book Camilla, From Outcast to Queen Consort, revealed that William made one thing painfully clear. His children have 2 grandfathers, but only 1 grandmother, and her name is Carol Middleton. In the Wales household, Camilla is not grandma. She is the wife of their grandfather, nothing more. And that distinction has shaped every part of William's family life ever since. Perfect. Here's the expanded and rewritten second piece, about Camilla's exclusion and Diana's presence in the family. I've added about 130 words to enrich tone, pacing, and emotional detail, keeping it smooth and voice-ready. Camilla is simply the wife of his father. That's the title she gets. And that's exactly where the line ends. In the Wales household, she's not Grandma Camilla, not even a soft nickname whispered by little voices. George, Charlotte, and Louis don't call her anything of the sort. They don't spend weekends at her home. They don't share bedtime stories or bake cookies together. There are no Christmas mornings, no birthday parties, no school pickups. She exists in their world like an elegant stranger, always nearby, but never truly inside it. Diana's place as grandmother, though she never lived to fill it, is sealed and sacred. Her memory is protected in quiet ways. The photos on the walls, the jewelry Kate wears, the stories William tells his children before bed. That presence is permanent, a kind of emotional inheritance that Camilla can never touch. No gift, no polite smile, no carefully worded birthday card can rewrite that truth. William drew that line early, and he drew it in permanent ink. His children will grow up knowing exactly one maternal name, and it's not Camilla's. You see it in the symbols too. Kate doesn't just wear Diana's sapphire engagement ring, she lives in it. But it goes far deeper than that single piece of jewelry. Every major event in the royal calendar has carried a quiet echo of Diana. At state dinners, Kate wears Diana's Collingwood pearl earrings. On Remembrance Day, it's her diamond bracelet. People magazine, Marie Claire, and Cosmopolitan have tracked these choices, noting that at nearly every defining moment, Kate is wearing something of Diana's. It's not coincidence, it's choreography. William and Kate are keeping Diana present, woven through the fabric of modern royal life. Each appearance, each photograph, is a soft reminder of who still matters most in that lineage. And beside it all stands Camilla. No signature jewelry, no symbolic heirlooms, no visual mark of legacy. In this family, Diana lives on in light and color, while Camilla stands in borrowed shadow. Every image tells the same story. Diana is forever woven into the heart of the next generation, and Camilla, despite the crown, remains outside looking in. Excellent. Here's the expanded and rewritten third piece, about William's deepening independence, his work, and his alignment with Diana's legacy. I've added around 130 words for texture, pacing, and emotional clarity while keeping it perfectly fluent for narration. William's choice was quiet but absolute. He chose his mother-in-law over his stepmother for the most intimate role in family life, the heart of the home, and he never pretended otherwise. While Camilla remained a distant figure, Carol Middleton became a steady presence, the one who bakes birthday cakes, joins school runs, and knows exactly how to soothe tired children. It's a contrast so natural that it doesn't even need to be explained. And then, just as Charles's health began to falter in early 2024, the balance of power within the monarchy shifted again. Someone had to step forward, to carry the royal schedule, to keep the machine running while the king recovered behind palace walls. That person wasn't Camilla. It was William. He shouldered more than 150 official engagements that year alone. Investitures, charity visits, state meetings, the full weight of a crown that hadn't yet been placed on his head. As Charles quietly withdrew, William became the visible face of the monarchy, and something remarkable happened. The public didn't just accept it, they embraced it. In their minds, the transition had already begun. The ceremony will be a formality when the time comes. The emotional handover has already taken place. But William didn't fill the gap with routine royal work. He defined his reign early, and he defined it through his mother's vision. His signature project, Homewards, was born from her influence, a 5-year national initiative to end homelessness across the UK, backed by a £3.8 million pledge. The Big Issue and Fox News covered the launch, tracing its roots back to Diana herself. When he was a child, she took him by the hand through London's shelters, past cardboard beds and quiet faces, to show him a side of Britain that the palace rarely saw. 25 years later, that memory became the blueprint for his mission. While his father focused on the environment and Camilla on literacy programs, William chose his mother's cause: compassion, visibility, human dignity. And he didn't stop at symbolism. Under his direction, 24 homes for the formerly homeless are being built on Duchy land, not for sale, not for show, but for families who have nowhere else to go. The Sunday Times and ITV News reported that construction began in late 2024, with completion expected by autumn 2025. Charles once used that same land for luxury developments and gourmet brands. William chose to build roofs over people's heads. 2 generations, 1 estate, and 2 completely different definitions of legacy. Diana's influence didn't fade. It became brick and mortar, built into the foundation of a future king's reign. Perfect. Here's the expanded and rewritten 4th piece, with about 140 extra words added for depth, pacing, and emotional texture. It's shaped for smooth narration and cinematic flow. They're being built into the very foundation, not just of land, but of legacy. Every brick that rises on Duchy soil now carries Diana's fingerprints, a mother's lesson quietly reimagined by her son. And that thread runs straight into what came next. William, standing alone beneath a banner that bears her name. In March 2024, at the Diana Legacy Awards, marking the 25th anniversary of her foundation, William stepped before the cameras, his voice steady but unmistakably personal. "My mother believed young people can change the world," he said. Harper's Bazaar covered the speech in full, and Kensington Palace released every word. It wasn't just a tribute, it was ownership, of memory, of message, of moral compass. And where was Camilla during that defining moment? Nowhere near it, not in the audience, not behind the scenes, not sending a statement of support. That stage, that event, that legacy, they belong to William alone. He doesn't share them, doesn't soften them, and certainly doesn't invite the woman who once shattered that family to stand beneath Diana's name for a photo. The Diana Awards are sacred ground, and Camilla knows better than to ask for an invitation. Meanwhile, while Camilla was hosting polite afternoon teas and small charity readings, William was building something on a scale she could never reach. The Earthshot Prize, his global environmental initiative, spans continents, industries, and influence. £50 million pledged over 10 years, councils that include Kate Blanchett, Sir David Attenborough, and Queen Rania of Jordan. From London to Boston, Singapore to Rio de Janeiro, every ceremony has placed William on an international stage, side by side with world leaders, innovators, and activists. Newsweek called it the most prestigious environmental award in the world, and yet, across 5 years of red carpets, press conferences, and televised moments, not once, not one single time, has Camilla appeared. No speech, no attendance, no mention. William has built a kingdom within a kingdom, a global empire of purpose that doesn't need her name or her presence. He doesn't stand as Charles's son when he takes that stage. He stands as his own man, with his own voice, his own platform, his own mission, one he's promised to pass on to George, Charlotte, and Louis, Diana's grandchildren, not Camilla's heirs. And that's when people began to notice the smaller signals. Gestures that seemed subtle until you realized how intentional they were. Like the birthdays. When Camilla turned 70 in 2017, the palace expected a flood of well wishes from the family. Instead, silence. No social media post, no press statement, no polite acknowledgement from William or Harry. The Daily Mail called the omission unmistakable. In a family where every word is timed and scripted, absence isn't an accident. It's an answer. That was the first time the public saw what insiders already knew, that William doesn't ignore Camilla by mistake. He does it by design. Neither William nor Harry publicly wished her a happy birthday. No Instagram post, no polished press release, not even a brief mention in palace statements. The silence was so loud it became its own headline. The Daily Mail called it an omission too obvious to ignore, and royal correspondents waited for some belated acknowledgement that never came. Inside a family where every phrase is rehearsed, where holiday greetings are carefully synchronized across royal accounts, this wasn't a slip. It was a decision. In the Windsor world, silence is strategy. And this silence spoke volumes. It told the country, and Camilla herself, exactly where William's loyalties lie. The absence of a birthday wish wasn't forgetful. It was architectural. That invisible wall between them became even clearer the following year, and the year after that. Easter Sunday, 2024. The royal family gathered at St. George's Chapel, the cameras waiting, the headlines pre-written. But when the cars arrived, William and Kate's seats were empty. They had chosen to stay in Norfolk with the Middletons instead. At first, palace aides whispered about scheduling conflicts, the kind of polite excuse used to avoid bigger truths. But when Easter 2025 came around, the same story played out again. 2 years in a row, the Prince and Princess of Wales skipped the royal Easter service entirely. News covered both absences, noting what everyone was already thinking. Once might be circumstance, twice is a statement. There was Camilla, smiling dutifully for the cameras, standing beside Charles, and next to her, a visible, symbolic gap where William and Kate should have been. It was absence as power, a carefully crafted message that didn't require a single word. Then came a different kind of message, this one behind closed doors. Robert Jobson's The Windsor Legacy, published in late 2025, revealed that William had quietly asked his father to reduce his royal workload during Charles's health decline. The request wasn't phrased like a plea or a question. It was framed like a conversation between equals. And that detail matters. Charles reportedly told his son to think again, but the power dynamic had already shifted. William wasn't asking permission. He was asserting autonomy. That moment showed exactly how he sees himself, not as a subordinate waiting in line, but as a man already operating on his own authority. And then came the move that sent a chill through every corner of Camilla's social circle: the firing. When William removed Annabel Elliot, Camilla's sister, from her decades-long position with the Duchy of Cornwall, it wasn't just an HR decision, it was a controlled detonation. Marie Claire, The Telegraph, and People magazine all reported the same details. Annabel had been hired in 2005 without competition, her role justified by proximity, not merit. For nearly 20 years, she collected hundreds of thousands of pounds under the quiet protection of her sister's royal marriage. And with one signature, William ended it. No warnings, no extensions, no ceremony, just closure. The message couldn't have been clearer. The days of Parker Bowles' privilege were over. William ended that arrangement with a single decision. No speeches, no warning. Just a quiet signature that sent shockwaves through the palace. According to reports, Charles and Camilla scrambled behind the scenes, trying to soften the blow by finding Annabelle a role elsewhere at Highgrove or with the Charity Foundation. But everyone inside the royal machine understood what had just happened. The future King of England had cut Camilla's sister off the payroll, and Camilla couldn't stop it. That moment was more than a firing. It was a signal flare. If William could act with that kind of precision now, with Charles still alive and on the throne, what would stop him once the crown was his alone? For Camilla, the answer was terrifyingly clear. Nothing. Then, as if to underscore that truth, came the next development. A quiet yet monumental shift that took place far from public eyes. Yahoo Entertainment reported in January 2026 that Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, had already begun planning William's coronation. Not hypothetically, not someday. Actively, with real timelines, real committees, real decisions. Because of Charles's fragile health, palace officials had started preparing contingency plans, and Kate wasn't just involved, she was leading them. Insiders told People that staff members were already referring to her as the architect of the next era. For Camilla, that revelation would have cut deep. Every coronation in modern royal history had been planned by the reigning queen's inner circle. But this time, the queen consort wasn't even in the room. Instead, the future queen, younger, popular, unblemished, was designing the ceremony that would quietly mark the end of Camilla's influence. And here's the hard truth. When that crown finally moves from one head to another, every privilege Camilla holds disappears overnight. Her title, her staff, her public platform, all of it bound to the reign of her husband. When that reign ends, so does her access. The signs of that transition have already begun. In December 2025, William and Kate were officially named Grantors of Royal Warrants, a rarely given authority to endorse British companies with the royal seal. News and Town and Country confirmed the move, noting that it gives them economic influence over which brands are elevated by the monarchy itself. Charles didn't give his son a ceremonial title. He handed him tangible power, control of the royal brand, the same influence once reserved for the monarch and the queen consort. But this time, there was no mention of Camilla anywhere. And while Camilla stayed on the sidelines, Kate stepped forward again, this time on the global stage. At Trooping the Color in June 2025, she arrived in a teal-green dress with white trim, nearly identical to the outfit Diana wore in 1988 at the same event. Same color palette, same designer, Catherine Walker, Diana's favorite. Fashion editors called it a statement in silk, a tribute worn in plain sight. Mindfood and several fashion outlets covered the moment, pointing out what everyone noticed but few dared to say: that Diana's memory has become the guiding spirit of the next monarchy. And Camilla? She stood only a few feet away, smiling for the cameras, watching the ghost of the woman she once replaced come alive again through William's wife. Perfect. Here's the expanded and rewritten seventh, final piece, with about 150 extra words for richness, emotional depth, and cinematic tone. It flows naturally for narration and builds to a sharp, powerful close. Imagine living inside that moment, standing only a few feet away from the future queen, knowing every color, every jewel, every gesture on that balcony is a tribute to the woman your very existence once threatened. That's Camilla's reality now. By 2024, the cracks had become canyons. William called it the hardest year of my life. Between Kate's health crisis, Charles's diagnosis, and the relentless demands of the crown, the pressure was unbearable. Fox News and royal biographer Robert Jobson both chronicled those months, the sleepless nights, the tension, the silence behind the palace doors. And when it all began to cave in, who did William turn to? Not his father, not his stepmother, but to Kate, the Middletons, and the small circle of friends and faith advisors he trusts implicitly. Insiders say he spent long evenings at Anmer Hall, quietly attending local church services without security fanfare, searching for stillness, for grounding, for something only his mother ever gave him. Camilla wasn't on that list. She wasn't in the room, She wasn't even part of the conversation. When everything fell apart, William turned inward, toward the people who reflect his values, not the ones who remind him of the past. And then comes the truth that ties all of this together. The thread that's been running beneath every move he's made for the past 2 decades. William has never, not once, publicly referred to Camilla as mother or even stepmother. Not in interviews, not in speeches, not in passing. Since the day Charles married her in 2005, he has maintained a deliberate, calculated distance. Angela Levin has written about it. Robert Jobson confirmed it. And nearly every royal biographer who studied the modern monarchy says the same thing. It isn't accidental. It's architectural. Because behind every handshake, every polished photograph, every dutiful smile, William has been building a separate monarchy, one shaped by Diana's shadow, by Kate's influence, by a moral compass that points far away from Camilla Parker Bowles. He built his own foundation of loyalty, the Duchy of Cornwall, his hand-picked circle of Eton friends now serving as advisors, the Middleton family as his emotional backbone. He made his mother's legacy the moral cornerstone of his reign-in-waiting, not as nostalgia, but as design. Piece by piece, year by year, he removed Camilla's influence from every corner of his future, financial, emotional, symbolic, and structural, all without ever needing to raise his voice. He smiled for the cameras, shook the right hands, bowed at the right moments, and quietly erased her from the blueprint. That's not the work of a grieving son acting on impulse. That's the long game of a future king who decided long ago that Camilla would have no seat at his table. And now, after seeing it all laid out, the documents, the statements, the visible pattern of 20 deliberate actions, the truth is clear. Prince William hasn't been waiting for his turn. He's been preparing for it. And when that day finally comes, the monarchy he leads won't have space for the woman who once divided it. Because every move, every silence, every decision for the last 20 years has led to one inevitable ending. Camilla, standing on the outside, looking in at a kingdom that was never truly hers. But this story doesn't stop here. William's quiet campaign isn't the only one that's shaken Buckingham Palace. 20 of the world's biggest celebrities have turned their backs on Camilla too, refusing to meet her, attend her events, or even appear in the same room. And number 14 on that list, it shocked even the royal insiders. Click now to see which global icons walked away, and why their reasons might just be the final twist in this royal reckoning. The curtain may not have officially fallen yet, but for Camilla, the lights are already dimming. Every move Prince William has made has been quiet but permanent, a masterclass in restraint and resolve. What we're watching isn't rebellion, it's succession in real time. The transition isn't waiting for a coronation. It's happening now, in the way the palace speaks, the way the public looks at the balcony, and the way history is quietly choosing its next chapter. William isn't just inheriting the crown. He's rewriting what it means to wear it. His loyalty sits not in the past, but in the legacy of his mother and the steadiness of his wife. Every step has been measured, every silence intentional. Camilla's chapter in this story is closing not with scandal, but with quiet inevitability. And that's the brilliance of it. William didn't have to destroy anything. He simply built something stronger beside it until the old world couldn't stand anymore. The monarchy that's coming will look more like Diana's dream than Charles's design. Open, human, connected, and unbothered by ghosts that never learned when to let go. But this is only the beginning. What happens next could redefine the balance of power inside Buckingham Palace forever. Because as Charles's health falters and public attention shifts, the question is no longer if William takes control. It's how completely he already has. If you've followed this story, you know what's coming next. The celebrity and political alliances forming quietly around William and Kate, and how their growing network is reshaping the future of the crown itself. Don't miss the next chapter, where we uncover the 20 global figures standing firmly behind William's vision for the monarchy and the one A-list royal friend who shocked the palace by switching sides. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next revelation changes everything you thought you knew about who really runs the royal family.